I have sort of some bad news for you, Robert. And
Oh,
I don't know what
no.
you're gonna do about it.
Yeah.
But starting on September 30th, AOL, America Online, will be
I heard
shutting
this.
off all. You did? Well, of
I
course you
did.
did, because you still have. I was gonna ask you, now that AOL is no longer a dial-up service, that they're discontinuing it, what you're gonna go to. Like, what do you
I'm probably going to go to GeoCities, or I was
Excite at
thinking about,
home?
I was maybe thinking about, I have my CompuServe account, which is probably the best fallback position. My old CompuServe account. I used to the funny thing is, I for a long time I used to remember my CompuServe number. Remember, it was a number. Your username was a number. I used to have that number memorized.
Yeah, you're a little bit wiser than I am. I started with Prodigy.
Nice. Well done.
I was prodigy.net. I remember JWP7 at prodigy.net. I was
Yep.
like rocking and rolling the Prodigy.
Yeah.
And then I was using all those AOL CDs to decorate my room, because you used to get them in the mail all the time.
One of my good friends actually made retirement money off of, basically, he started the sailing forum on AOL. And in those days, you could if you started a forum on AOL, they would pay you. And if you built up the forum to a certain number, the money was really good. And he made a lot of money basically running the sailing forum. And he got to go to the world races and the World Cup and all sorts of things on their dime, on AOL's dime. And then one day, it's like 2001 or something, it was over. It was like on Sunday he was doing stuff, and on Monday it was done. It was like done.
The saddest thing about this whole thing is that AOL is owned by Yahoo.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's like,
know.
okay,
Exactly.
who made the decision to shut down AOL? Yahoo.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
That's all we could do. Here we go.
Just remember, everybody has your story to tell. Tell it well. Of this old marketing.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Polizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. This old marketing. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. And I'm Robert Rosen. Well, here we are, episode number 493 for Friday, August 15th, 2025. And with me, as usual, is my pal, my colleague, and a guy who is the most excited in the United States about Taylor Swift's new album, Mr. Joe Polizzi.
I am excited.
You should be excited. Did you see all the orange?
No, I didn't see a thing. I just saw the clip that she was on the Kelsey podcast and announcing the album, and which is cute. I think it's adorable.
Go see. She color themes all of her releases, and it looks like this one's going to be orange.
Oh, that's interesting that she picked that color. I'm glad she did. I have no more commentary on orange besides it is my favorite color.
Yes,
and I think it's going to be a hit. I'm going to predict right now.
Wow, that's really going out there.
Multiple number one songs off of this.
Yes.
She's going to do something new. She's going to have hits.
I got my guy Travis, and I'm singing a song about him. He's a football player for the Chiefs. That's the
original
new hit.
Song. Original. Yeah. No AI needed.
No AI needed,
for that. Do you think they're going to make it? Honestly, do you think that this is a love affair that's going to last?
No,
really,
no, not long term. Not long term.
You're not gonna. They're not going to have any Taylor Kelsey kids.
little baby Kelseys.
My prediction is that they take each other's names. Like I think that he goes Travis Kelsey Swift.
Yeah, there you go.
And she goes Swift Kelsey.
Yeah,
that would be very confusing for the kids.
Yes, as long as they don't do the typical Hollywood thing of naming the kid like curb stomp or something like that, or whatever.
Well, it's better than some others. What is it? Elon's kid is like, you can't even pronounce some of the names.
That's right.
I feel bad for the kids didn't do anything wrong. Why? Why, Elon? Why?
Yeah.
But anyways, how's your week been going? Like,
my week has been lovely. Yeah, I've had a good weekend. It's been busy. It's been really, really busy, which is rare for August, but here we are. I'm certainly not going to complain about it. I was bitching last year about, all the not being busy, and here I am this year busy. So it's all good, and I'm getting ready. And one of the things that I'm busy with, of course, is getting the new book ready, getting ready for CEX. I already got little messages from the elves backstage at CEX saying you haven't submitted your presentation yet, and it's late. And
yeah, I wonder who's going to review that presentation.
Yeah,
I wonder who. I have no idea who's going to.
It took all of my gumption to not respond to that email with, "Don't you know who I am?"
Well, I get a list of, it's like, okay, whose presentations are missing for Content Entrepreneur Expo, and I get it. Yeah. Of course, every year, Robert Rowe, and I have to convince him. I'm like, look, don't put too much pressure on him. He's good for it. I'm pretty sure that he'll have his presentation.
The hardest thing is really fitting this into 25 minutes. I just don't have it's tough. 25 minutes is it's writing that short letter. It's really hard to.
Well, what's better than 45 minutes of Robert Rose? 25 minutes.
25. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. Yes, that's
it's the same for me. Mine, I have a 20-minute opening keynote, and I'm trying to figure out, how can I be better?
What are you going to talk about? Yeah, exactly. What do you talk about in 20 minutes?
I think sometimes we're just better, faster, quicker. I'll leave it at that. Hey, look what just came. For those of you watching on YouTube,
look at that.
That's Burn the Playbook, my brand new book. This is the proof copy.
What a shock! This
is the one that's going to be worth something.
Yeah,
I know. Don't you like that cover?
Yeah, it's great.
Folks at Tilt Publishing did a great job.
Wait till you see my cover. The designers, I will tell you this: the designers at Tilt Publishing and Lulu, basically, they
outdid themselves.
They really
gave them very specific direction.
I did give them very specific direction because it was very important to me, and apparently they appreciated it, so that was good. But they took my idea and really ran with it, and it's going to be, my cover is awesome. Yeah,
I can't wait to see it. I'm sure everybody wants to see this thing. What I talk about my book all the time. What's the name of your book? When does it come out?
Valuable Friction. It comes out on the 22nd. The 22nd. So it'll be at CEX. It will launch officially.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not doing the pre-order thing, only because, unlike you, I'm not technically savvy enough to figure all that out. So I've got the e-commerce stuff getting ready to go and selling direct and all the templates and frameworks, and that's the stuff I got to get going and finish. But it'll be ready to roll on the 22nd, and I'm super excited about it. It's an idea that seems to have legs. I'll put it that way. I mean, I'm finding myself continuing to write about it, so it's like I'm not getting bored with the topic. I'll put it that way.
The funniest thing to me is on, as I'm going through, I don't have the paid YouTube, so I see all the commercials that come through. Sure. There's some guy that has some software tool or whatever, and he says, the problem with your business? Too much friction. And I think, I'm like, no, sometimes you want valuable friction.
There it is. There it is. See, that's the thing. That's the culture today. That's literally the culture today, is we're obsessed with speed. We're obsessed with convenience. And we often don't recognize what the real cost of that is. Sometimes it's little, sometimes it's, a lot. But Sam Altman just came out literally this week. All this stuff is in the news. Sam Altman came out this week and said that we are quickly entering the era of fast fashion for SaaS companies, which everybody's going, everybody's taking that the wrong way. They're going, yay, this is awesome. But I think he's actually critiquing it. Like, he's actually saying, look, you're going to get a lot of garbage, sort of fast, microwave, unnutritious software as a service companies because of this vibe coding thing. And I think he's basically making a commentary on the quality of products that are coming out. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about.
Well, there has been this culture for the past many, many years now. It's just ship it, get it out there in whatever
Exactly.
form and see what happens. And by the way, that I'm sure we'll talk about that with the GPT-5 launch.
Yep.
There's a little bit of that. But anyways, we got a good show. Why don't you
we
go
do.
through it
Yeah,
for
we
us?
have a good show. We do have a good show. So we're going to talk about the breaking news, literally breaking as we record this, is that Perplexity has now offered to buy Chrome, Google Chrome. We'll talk a little bit about that as in launch with, as you just said, with a bunch of stuff from the frontier models out there launching all sorts of new stuff. But ChatGPT 5 is here and nobody seems particularly happy about it. Then after we pay some bills, we'll talk about age verification. It's a continuation of something we talked about last week, which was it's going to hurt some content creators. And there's some new interesting stories coming out about that. And then we'll get to our winners and losers, and we'll talk a little bit about, well, Oreos and Reese's peanut butter cups, chocolate peanut butter coming together. There's something good about that. And Joe, we'll talk about Marketing AI Institute. Give a shout out to those guys who never gave a shout out to us. Oh, I said it out loud. See, I said I wasn't going to say it out loud, but then I said it out loud. Anyway, then we'll get to our rants and raves. And I will talk a little bit about the new story in the Wall Street Journal about McKinsey, the consulting firms, and their what's going on with AI strategy. And Joe's going to talk about the Hampton Jitney Bus song. And those are four words that I did not think I would ever say together. And but the Hampton
it's a good
Jitney
story.
Bus song,
you got to stay tuned.
Yeah,
it's a good story behind it. You'll all be thanking me. For staying to the 50-minute mark.
Yes.
Of this old marketing. So
there you go.
Through it. All right.
There you go. All right. Let's jump into this with our breaking news story here, which is literally breaking as we record this. We are recording a little early this week because I'm on travel later this week. So recording a little earlier. So as we speak, work. The Wall Street Journal is reporting, although everybody's reporting today on this. Perplexity, the AI search company, is making long shot $34.5 billion offer for Chrome. It's an unsolicited bid for Google's browser. And the article opens up by saying Perplexity on Tuesday, that's today as we record, offered to purchase Google's Chrome browser for $34.5 billion as it works to challenge the tech giant's web search dominance. Perplexity's offer is significantly more than its own valuation, which is estimated at $18 billion. Got to work out some math there. But the company told the Wall Street Journal that several investors, including large venture capital funds, had agreed to back the transaction in full. Estimates of Chrome's enterprise value vary widely, but the recent ones have ranged from $20 billion to $50 billion. And the U.S. District Judge, Amit Mehta, is weighing whether to force Google to sell the browser as a means of weakening Google's stranglehold on web search. And basically, last year, he ruled that Google illegally monopolized and is basically expected to rule this month on how to restore competition. The article goes on to talk a little bit about the details there of the ruling that had sort of did all this. It's so it's breaking news. There's obviously not a lot of detail about this, but quick take on this at all? Is this going to happen, or is this? I
have a couple takes. No. Yeah. It will never, ever, ever happen.
Performance art. Yeah, this is performance art.
This is a wonderful PR tool, PR strategy, if you will, by Perplexity. I'm under the assumption that there's a good number of the people that read the Wall Street Journal and other media outlets that never heard of Perplexity before, and now they do, because they sent this letter to the CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company, and they did it publicly.
Yeah.
So everyone could see. By the way, that's not usually how it works.
No,
these things are usually
in case
done
you're wondering,
outside of the media. So why would you send it to the Globe?
Yeah.
They wanted to get a little PR. The number is ridiculous, but I think so. Let's just put that out there. Great.
You think ridiculously low or ridiculously high?
I actually think it's low.
Yeah,
myself. I think it's low. But here's the thing. It's in lieu of this antitrust case that's happening right now that, Google has, as you said, a stranglehold over search. But I think that now, as we look at, we're in the middle to, late 2025. I think if Google's attorneys, their legal team are worth any salt, they could prove that they don't have a stranglehold on search anymore. It's actually disintegrating quite quickly due to market forces already.
Yes.
So for that reason, I don't think that Google will ever sell Chrome, because I don't think they have to, because I can't, unless they settle, unless Google just says, they don't want this to go on anymore, they'll settle. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. What do you think?
I think it's much more likely that if Google's going to divest, they're going to break up the marketplace versus the buying. That's the side of the business that they're not going to. Google is not going to give up Chrome. There's just no way that Google's giving up Chrome.
So much valuable data.
That's just too close to the consumer. And so they're not giving up search for the obvious reason. And so what would they give up to satisfy? It would be the fact that they control both ends of the marketplace now when it comes to buying and selling ads. And so I could see them very easily selling off the Google ad network, which probably isn't that valuable to them ultimately. And by the way, they would keep it for their properties.
Yeah.
So in other words, they would keep it for YouTube. They would keep it for Google search. But they just would lose it for the ability to put, ads on non-Google monetized publications, right? So your publications that are currently using Google ads to drive revenue and all that sort of thing, you give that away, and you sort of take away the ad selling piece of it, and you just keep the ability to buy those ads across Google properties. And I think that's much more likely than giving away Chrome for sure.
If it is for sale, theoretically, there will be other buyers.
Oh my God, there will be
have way more money than Perplexity, which, you said, is value. By the way, where do they come up with these valuations? $18 billion for Perplexity, probably, actually, considering the inflation of the dollar right now, that's probably low too. So, I mean, it's great. I mean, we'll talk about ChatGPT a little bit. We're not going to talk about this story, but they just came out with a $500 billion valuation. We're just throwing out.
Oh, sure. I mean, this is the way we do it.
Like it's nothing. Yeah.
Well, we talked about this, I don't know how long ago. We talked about this sort of, the basically marketing by press release now, right? Which is, it doesn't have to be accurate anymore, right? You can literally just make a claim. Like I could release a press release tomorrow saying I've offered, and actually funny, I think it was either Galloway did this or somebody did this, who basically announced that he was going to launch something and basically gave it $1 trillion valuation.
Why not?
Sure. Why not? I mean,
of course it's going to be worth that much. And
of course,
it's
absolutely.
Anyway.
I'm announcing today that I'm going to buy Twitter, right? I'm going to buy Twitter for, I'm thinking somewhere around $35 billion that I'm going to buy Twitter for. And can't say that I'm not, because I just said,
you know what? If you put it out there and you have people covering you, they turn it into reality.
That's right.
It's really kind of scary. Actually.
Yeah.
We're making fun of it, but it's not the way it used to be. I remember when I used to receive the newspaper. And then that would be all the news that I got until the next day. And I really missed that.
You sounded like such an old man there. You were like, I remember when I used to get the newspaper. I used to arrive at my porch and I went out and turned an ankle.
All right. I got to tell you this, because this is a true story. It's like 3 weeks ago. Beautiful day outside. I went for my Sunday morning run, like I always do. And I came back and there was the Sunday newspaper in my driveway. And I'm like, it's so wonderful. And I took that to the backyard and I sat in the shade and the birds were chirping and I was reading the news that didn't change.
That's right.
I didn't update to a new story. I just turned the page and news kept coming. And it was really quite wonderful. And I long for days like that.
I will tell you, my wife gets exactly the same pleasure out of that. I got her the subscription to the Sunday Times, New York Times, and it arrives every Sunday morning. And I go out and fetch it for her and bring it in. And she loves to
fetch it.
I fetch it for her.
I can see you fetching. Yeah, I can. Everybody picture Robert Rose on a Sunday morning fetching
my newspaper. I go out and fetch my newspaper. It's out there waiting for me.
I'm going to get you the beautiful news. All right.
Moving on here to the next news item, which is interesting because the frontier models have been making a lot of announcements. Some of the things we could cover but won't cover in depth. Grok slash Twitter slash Musk.com, whatever it's called these days, is launching a new thing that kind of is the Vine thing, but is really around video. So they've launched a new video creation tool. Basically, we also have Google with Gemini launching a new frontier for building worlds, like building interactive games, those kinds of things.
I think it's from DeepMind. They're calling it Genie 3.
Yeah,
which by the way looks fantastic. If you've been into it at all.
It's got to be, sort of related to the whole flow stuff, and which I've been playing around for, of course, with the ads and all that. But what we'll cover in a little more depth is that ChatGPT 5 is here. It came out in the last week or so, and nobody seems particularly happy about it. So the article we'll cover is coming from Mashable. The headline is that ChatGPT fans are shredding GPT-5 on Reddit as Sam Altman responds in an AMA. Ask me anything. The article opens up by saying GPT-5 is out and the early reviews are in, and they're not great. Many ChatGPT fans have taken to Reddit and other social media platforms to express their frustration and disappointment with OpenAI's newest foundation model released on Thursday of last week. Let's see. A quick glimpse of the ChatGPT subreddit, not affiliated with OpenAI, of course, shows scathing reviews of GPT-5 since the model began rolling out. The subreddit is filled with posts calling GPT-5 a disaster, horrible, and the biggest piece of garbage ever as a paid user. Wow, that's okay.
That's serious stuff,
like,
right there.
That's wow. I mean, that's really the biggest
somebody
piece
didn't
of
eat their
garbage,
Wheaties.
even as a paid user.
Yeah.
Awkwardly, Altman and other members of the OpenAI team had pre-planned a Reddit AMA to answer questions about GPT-5 in the hours ahead of that, and the questions piled up in anticipation, with many users demanding that OpenAI bring back GPT 4.0 as an alternative to GPT-5. The article goes on to say basically some more sort of insults and really being bummed out that you can't go back to the previous models, which of course you can if you're a pro user. We can talk about that. But basically, Altman has responded to the criticism and basically he's sort of doubling down in a sort of half-hearted kind of way, basically saying GPT will seem smarter starting today. We had the auto switcher was out of commission for a chunk of the day. The result was it seemed way dumber than it actually is, and we're rolling it out to everyone, and it's taking a bit longer than we thought. And basically, he said the launch wasn't happening as smoothly as he had hoped, but we would all come to love it at some point. So, have you played with it? What do you think of it? What is your review? What do you think about all of this?
So, I do have a question for you, but first I'll cover I have no problem with it. It's at least on my side, it's way faster. It's way faster than it ever was before. So I will absolutely take speed from that standpoint. So I noticed that. Now I have a plus version. So I did use the reasoning tool. So basically for those, I think you said some of this, Robert, but you can't switch to the different learning models. Like you could, like in 4, you could go in, I want reasoning, I want this one, but with the ChatGPT 5, you just get whatever, and that in 5, it picks the model it wants to use depending on what you ask and what you need, so it does it automatically. My take when I heard all this coming was it seems very similar now because it is not a monumental change like 2023's 4 was, which seems so much different than 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of like what we get with iOS updates. Like it's just another update and they just tweak things and whatever, but you're not going to see these huge changes because we're already at such an advanced level. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe the next one we get to super intelligence and everything blows the doors off of everything. But right now it's almost like, oh, we move the home button. I don't know. That's where I thought, but my question was, everybody, even this article goes around and says maybe Sam Altman is just clueless about what the audience and the power users want. Like, what do you think, that they weren't thinking about the audience and they weren't thinking about what they really wanted or what they were loving about 4? What do you think?
Here's my hot take, right? And there are some really smart AI people that are doing some deeper analysis on this, including around the fact that it's GPT-5 seems to be what they're calling a router model. In other words, It's entirely built to sniff out, based on your prompt, what it is that you're trying to get to, and then apply the right model to it. And so, in other words, if you say, I'd like you to use deep reasoning to figure out the following problem, right? It will actually use deep reasoning. Or, hey, I'd like you to search the web. It'll use a model that's best at searching the web, or, whatever. It's looking to sniff out through so it means you have to prompt in a more, in a different way than you're probably used to as a casual user. So I find that anecdotally, what I'm seeing is that those that really are sort of, would qualify themselves as a prompt engineer or very good at prompting are generally pretty happy about it, because they're like, yes, I know how to prompt well. Those that don't necessarily, prompt in sort of very specific or structured ways are finding it to be more frustrating because it doesn't do exactly what 4 used to do with them. Now, the reason for that, and this is where my hot take comes in, I believe that this is that there isn't a big sort of innovation, a step function. I agree with you here that there's no step function of innovation between 4 and what 5 is capable of. What I think is happening here is that they've sort of hit a wall, like many of the platforms have sort of hit a wall. So, it's that classic moving from 0 to 60 is child's play. And then moving from 60 to 61, you spend the rest of your life trying to do that. Right. It's that kind of thing. Like they've pretty much hit a wall of innovation for now, that where you're not going to see any big leaps between the versions. What I believe this to be is that this is a cost issue, because there's no doubt that the deep reasoning models like 4.5 and 3.0 that use a lot of compute are expensive to run. And what you had a lot of users using those models because you got better answers. If you make the AI think, you get better answers, deeper answers, et cetera. So people are starting to learn, hey, if I just use those models, then for everything, I'll get a more thoughtful answer. That costs more. And so I think this is them trying to manage scalability and cost versus demand. That's my take on it. Now, what tells me even more that this is true is that if you're a pro user like I am, and you pay the $200 a month, you can switch models, right? I can choose whatever model I want for whatever I need. And I can definitely tell you there's a difference. There's definitely a difference. And, the other thing that seems to be the big complaint, and then I'll finish, which is that people are really bummed out that they've sort of removed the personality out of it, right? It seems like it's giving much more truncated, much more robotic, much more sort of straightforward, dry answers than the sort of replete, flourished sort of language that 4.0 used. And again, I think that's a cost thing. I don't think that's a lot of people said, well, they're really worried that, people are using it as a coach or as a psychological partner or a friend, and they're anthropomorphizing it too much. And I don't think Altman or OpenAI gives a shit about that. I think they care that costs more money. Basically, putting out more language costs more money. Therefore, they can, it used to be the old way that we talk about Google, right? When they shaved off 4 kilobytes off of the logo, it would save millions of dollars because of the amount of searches that are doing. If they can shave off, even a paragraph of text for each answer, they're saving money. So
even a word, I've heard, like if you look at the amount of compute needed for an extra word, it's a big deal if you multiply that. Now, I think it's concerning that they put the rate limits here, query limits on, I think up to plus. Maybe you don't have it for Pro, but I think I do for a Plus user. And this is a concern. Like, I'm interested. I know the Gemini is coming out with a new version here pretty soon. It'll be interesting to see what theirs is and how they spin it. But you get a big company like Google or Microsoft, they're not going to have problems with compute like OpenAI is having. So maybe it's the first time we see that the smaller company is. I mean, who ever thought that we would get to a point where we're talking about ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude all in the and XAI, Grok, the whole thing. And we're like, oh, these are all frontier models and they all do sort of the same thing, when ChatGPT had the clear lead for a long time. Yes. So maybe we're also at the point where we got a 4 or 5 way race here. and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think what you've finally seen is they are the first company that is making a scaling decision, right? They are making basically an efficiency decision with a new product. And fascinatingly, I think just exactly to your point, this is actually more of a marketing and communications issue than it is a product issue, because they really had two choices here, which is one, to sort of go, jazz hands. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's this new thing. It's going to be able to automatically detect what we're doing. And basically it's this amazing new feature, and you should love it and love it. And by the way, you should love it. And by the way, you should love it. Or they could have gone with, well, what we did with ChatGPT 5 is we were concerned about safety. We were concerned about cost. We were concerned about the environment. And basically what we're doing is we're managing this because the demand is so high. And they basically chose the former messaging. They just basically went, this is the story that we want to continue to tell. History will see whether it was the right one or not. But I think ultimately what we're going to find is that this was the very first product release that was them showing their concern about scalability and cost.
Well, I mean, obviously the expectations for 5 were so high, and nobody seems happy. So
that's right.
You got that.
Yeah. That's they've managed to do what OpenAI does so often with their marketing, which is make exactly 0 people happy. Yeah.
Speaking of marketing.
Yeah. Speaking of marketing, hey, we've got our ads, and we are once again happy to show you our little original art piece. We've created an art piece using AI so often to create what we call paying the bills.
This is very, very meta on meta. Here we go.
I had a dream. It had microphones, a budget of zilch, and a box full of scones. We hit record, no clue what we'd say, but Joe showed up, so we made it a play. We had heart, we had brains, we had takes that were spicy. We were running on caffeine and vibes, not precisely what you call a business model. But hey, we were rebels with sponsors, a Venmo away. Then came the bills like a tragic refrain. Web hosting gear, a subscription to grain. Our dreams were intact, but the check-in was tense, so we gave in to ads with a bit of pretense. We're just paying the bills with harmonized frills. We sold just enough to keep chasing the thrills. And if you hear us pitch socks while we sing in our crowd, that's the sound of the hustle. Paying the bills. Yes, paying the bills.
You don't become the world's most valuable women's sports franchise by accident. Angel City Football Club did it with a little help from HubSpot. When they started, data was housed across multiple systems. HubSpot unified their website, email marketing, and fan experience into one platform. This allowed their small team of 3 to build an entire website in just 3 days. The results? Nearly 350 new signups a week and 300% database growth in just 2 years. Visit HubSpot.com to see how HubSpot can help you grow better. Are you looking for a new podcast to evangelize? Well, let me tell you about The Sales Evangelist, hosted by Donald Kelly, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. Each week, Donald interviews the world's best sales experts, successful sellers, sales leaders, and entrepreneurs who share their strategies to succeed in sales right now. Folks like Jeffrey Gitomer, Jill Conrad, Bob Berg, and Guy Kawasaki, just to name a few. They share actionable insights and stories that are going to encourage, challenge, and motivate you to hustle your way to a top income status. If you're someone looking to take off in your sales career and earn the income you deserve, this is the podcast for you. You can find Sales Evangelist wherever you find your favorite pods.
We're just paying the bills with harmonized frills. We sold just enough to keep chasing the thrills. And if you hear us pitch socks while we sing in our crowd, that's the sound of the hustle. Paying the bills. Yes, paying the bills. Paying the
Paying the bills. Ooh, ooh,
Paying the bills.
Who?
Is it wrong that I'm listening to that when
I
I'm
love that.
not on this podcast?
I'm very proud of the song. I didn't love the video this month as much as I did last month.
I think that's my favorite video because I'm a foot taller than you are.
Yeah, well, there's that. There
in
is
the
that
video.
Yeah,
and I'm svelte. I mean, and you're not.
I know.
You're a little bit out of the Hobbit.
I'm a short little old. Yeah, I'm a short little old man in that video. Yeah,
Frodo.
Yeah,
Frodo. No, Frodo. No marketing.
No marketing.
Oh my goodness! No, I can't
go.
wait. So, what are we doing for September's ads? Are you already thinking about the? Are you ready to spill
one
like
of the
what
things?
You're working on?
Well, one of the things that we had talked about for September, but I'm glad to take any listener requests here as well. We talked about sort of before we settled on Broadway for August, we had talked about doing like 1970s singer-songwriter, like a Billy Joel type of thing.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah. So that's currently what I'm thinking, but I am more than happy to take requests from those who are either watching this on YouTube or catching us on LinkedIn or whatever it is. Basically, let us know. thisoldmarketing.com. Send us a voicemail, send us an email, let us know. We would love to.
There's so many different ways you could take it. You could do like early rock and roll.
Yeah.
You could do yacht rock, which would be one of my favorites.
The yacht rock would be fantastic.
Yeah, a little Yamo be there.
Yeah, exactly. A little Michael McDonald action. Yeah, there you go. There we can go.
If you just do one on Michael McDonald, if you do Michael McDonald, I want like you and I in the recording studio with Michael McDonald.
There you go.
Like jumping in and out. He's like, he's moving everywhere. First he's Doobie Brothers. No, then he's over on a Toto song. And then he's going over here. He's with Kenny Loggins. He's everywhere.
Oh, that's another one we could do too. Sort of the Kenny Loggins 80s style rock and roll, right? The pop sort of rock.
He's in Top Gun. He's in Caddyshack.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
Exactly. Oh, there's so much good stuff there.
All right, good.
So much good stuff.
I love it. I think you're doing good work with that. I think.
Thank you. I will tell you this. It is a hell of a lot of fun. It is a hell of a lot of fun to do. It's way more fun to do the ads that way than it is to just do straight up advertising.
I think we are the only ones in the HubSpot network that actually has tunes, original-ish tunes.
Come on. Look, that's worth the price of admission right there. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they were going to get rid of us, but they said, no, these two chuckleheads. They're making up original songs.
They are creative geniuses is what they are.
You've never, ever heard that said.
That's right.
Nobody's ever said
I really
that.
haven't.
Maybe you. Nobody's ever said that I'm a creative genius.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah. All right.
What do we got?
To our next story, which have everything to do with kids on the internet or age verification. This is courtesy of nightlight.news, which I'd never heard of until you sent me this story. And basically, the headline is YouTube and you. The article opens up by saying YouTube is going to roll out a new age verification system using machine learning. I'm sure that'll go well. Estimate whether
this is a novel or a movie or something like that,
exactly.
Right?
Oh my goodness. To determine whether a user is under the age of 18, starting on August 13th, literally this week. They'll begin monitoring a small group of users based on search history, the types of videos watched, and how long the account has been active.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, of course. What if anything could go wrong? One thing the author found interesting is that they stated that they don't care what age is listed under the account. Will it work? Says the article. Well, the author says, as they mentioned above, accounts will be categorized as either over 18 or under 18. Accounts marked as under 18 will have the following protections. Personalized advertising is turned off. Digital well-being tools are automatically enabled. What are those? You don't know, and I don't know, but they're going to be turned on.
Nobody
and
knows.
Extra safeguards and recommendations, including limits on repetitive views of certain types of content. What are those repetitive kinds of content? You don't know, and we don't know. Anyway, Basically, the challenge is that, and what this means for creators is really interesting because what the author says is a lot of the creator accounts, especially those making content that appeal to younger audiences, show an audience demographic of 30 to 40-year-olds. I'd imagine that a big portion of those are actually kids using their parents' account, which are now going to get flagged as under 18. Those creators are going to pay the price and earn lower CPMs because those viewers won't be served personalized ads. I'm not sure that's a bad thing, but keep going here. Most creators who make kids content try really hard to avoid being labeled as made for kids. I think challenge videos, scripted content, gaming, especially Roblox, Minecraft, animation, I'm sure unboxing videos, all those sorts of things. Anyway, if the author says, if I'm a creator in one of those categories, I'd be ready to make changes if that happens. And so that's the big takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
Changes.
Yeah, I think that's it. First, I don't have a problem that YouTube is trying to do. It makes a lot of sense what
totally makes a lot of sense.
I think maybe how they're trying to do it, if they're just strictly going to use machine learning to do this, it's not going to work to start, because it's going to have to learn over and over and figure this whole thing out. But maybe long term, that's the way to go. Of course, if you're watching some of these kids shows, the person using it is 30 or 40 or 45 years old because they're on their own account, they're with their kids, they're watching some young. But if you're a creator in that space and you get more money based on personalization of ads and you're not going to get it, it's going to be a big ding. So good thing we don't go to kids. Thankfully. Thankfully. We don't want anybody growing up to be marketers, by the way. Go do something fun, like be a plumber or landscape architect, something like that.
Well, here's the thing. I think, basically it's when we look at this, what I keep coming back to is that with all of the social media platforms, is the idea of how, there's this sort of philosophical question of how many pebbles until you have a pile kind of thing. And I keep wondering how many more of these experiments until finally somebody goes, this really isn't in the spirit of Section 230, right? Which of course is the landmark case that basically made all of these platforms sort of unliable for anything that they produce, right? So basically, it gave them carte blanche to, because it's just a user platform, right? It's just to
clarify, they don't have these social media companies don't have to go through the constraints that a media company would.
That's right.
They basically can show any content they want.
Exactly, and so. And it's been a big topic of conversation, Section 230, which is the bill that sort of built in the 90s that gave them sort of the social media companies and the platforms like Google, really just a full basically, carte blanche to publish whatever they want without fear of being held responsible for the content on their platform, because it was all based on users. Now, at some point, and I have to think that Google is treading very lightly here with the usage of editing, which is at some point when you start using algorithms and, there's a perfectly rational and believable reason of why they're not having humans do this, right? They could certainly have humans do this, right? And review the content. But then that really does look like that final pebble that makes a pile that says you're now
scale it. And you couldn't scale it either. Yeah,
you absolutely could, but it would just cost more money than they want to spend. And so the question really becomes, how do you police this in a way without A, increasing your cost too much, but B, how do you do it effectively without running afoul of some of the protections, which may or may not be changing at some point anyway. And I come down with you. It's like, this is a good thing, right? For all of the platforms that start to do is put age restrictions on the content that's available and start treating these companies more like the media companies that they are, rather than the platforms that they purport themselves to be. But man, I can see the complexity here. I just don't think this is going to go well. I just don't think this is going to, I think
we're going to get all sorts of horrible. It's very similar to what just came out about ChatGPT 5. You're going to get people saying this is a disaster. It didn't work. This is what I saw. This is what I'm tagged at. People think I'm a kid, but they don't, whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts, but we're not, it doesn't seem like we're ever going to go to a system. And again, we talked about this last episode. I don't know. I feel like we should all have a universal ID that people know who we are. I think in some cases it would be better, but also in other cases it would be worse because you'd get targeted a certain way. There could be rampant discrimination that happens if somebody knows who you are or where you live or how much you make. That's a concern. So I like the open internet from that standpoint. This is just the start of more to come.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, let's get to our winners and our losers, where Joe and I pick a winner from the last week of marketing or a loser in the last week of marketing. And we've got, I think we have 2 winners this week, do we not?
Two winners, which rarely happens.
Yeah.
This is maybe one in 300 that it's happened. So I'll go first. Just a little, you were making fun of them before. Hats off to our friends at Marketing AI Institute.
They're crazy good. They're crazy good at what they're doing.
They made the Inc. 500 at number 320 with let's see, 3-year growth rate of 1,227%. Congratulations, crazy growth over there for
that's what they call hockey stick growth.
Paul Raitzer, Kathy McPhillips, Mike Kaput, all our other friends over there. You're doing a fantastic job.
Really
and what I love about it more than anything is they launched this company, Paul did with the team, based on all the things that we've talked about here. Not that they listened to us at all, but they really focused on a content niche that they thought they really could be one of the leading experts. They focused on a couple core platforms. First, the website, branched into the podcast, which, by the way, their marketing artificial intelligence podcast is fantastic. I think you and I listen to it on a regular basis. Yep. They do a great job. Their academy is doing wonderful. Macon is their event coming up here in Cleveland pretty soon. So hats off to them, and just wanted to give them a little bit of a well-deserved kudos for that achievement.
Yeah, what they do over there is absolutely crazy good. It's really, really well done. It's really, really well. And you know, and forever, it's like, I'm sure the pressure over there has been not, how to grow. It's that they're, that they don't want to grow too fast. Right. And I think what they've been able to do is really do this in a smart way and in an intelligent way for lasting growth, and real, and real impact, rather than sort of, it would be easy to just take advantage of the buzz and just sort of do a money grab and go, and then spoil the whole thing. But they haven't done that. They've built really lasting, good, a great brand. Basically, they built a great brand along the way. So yes,
well, not to bring up any similarities, but when we were growing Content Marketing Institute, content marketing was really growing fast, and we had some of the same issues that they're dealing with now.
For sure.
Except theirs is multiplied, because there's no doubt that AI as an industry, or marketing AI as an
bigger
industry,
than content marketing.
Is growing fast. It's bigger. There's more money. There's more opportunity. But we did pretty well with content marketing.
We did all right. Yeah, we did okay.
We did okay.
We did all right. Yeah, we did good.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
good.
Okay.
It's okay. That's fine.
That's
all
fine.
right.
That's
okay. All right. We're still.
Okay, what's yours?
We're still working here. I mean,
we're still schlepping the same ice cream that we. It is the same. Actually, this is funny. I'm working on my presentation for CEX.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't signed up, it's August 24th to 26th. You should come join us. There's one slide where I'm talking about mastering repetition, and how the best creators out there master repetition. They say the same thing over and over and over and over again, but they just change it a little bit. And I started going through all my books. You and I wrote 2 of these books together, and I basically said, it's the same book. For 20 years, I've been writing the same book with just a skosh difference. It's just funny.
Good times and bum times, I've seen them all. And my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes, and sometimes it's pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I love that. Sondheim. You gotta love Sondheim.
Sondheim is great, and maybe we should go on the road with an act.
We should. We should.
It's not just a podcast. It's just
you don't get this on
it's
every marketing news podcast. You don't get somebody
this
singing
old
Stephen
marketing.
Sondheim to
Okay,
you. Yeah.
if anybody wants to see, and we'll pay money for, because it's going to cost us, this old marketing experience, not at the Sphere in Vegas, at somewhere else.
This old marketing experience.
Just in case you thought it was going to be at the Sphere, it's not. We couldn't book it, but we'll be at somewhere else. We'll be at the El Cortez.
That's right.
In Vegas. Okay.
We'll be at the local Mexican restaurant in your favorite eatery town. All right. All right. So mine's very, very quick. It's all, I want to just do a quick shout out to both Oreo and Reese's. They have come out with a new campaign where they are combining Oreos and Reese's. And not only are they getting coverage, and what we'll link to in the article is, of course, the Wall Street Journal, but it's basically just Mondelez crushing it. And basically,
there you
it's
go.
just
There's a picture of it right there.
It's just, I mean, look, I'm not a fan necessarily of either individually, but when I saw these two things together, I was like, this is just absolute brilliance. It's absolute brilliance of cross branding, of marketing, and also just a damn fine snack. So kudos to them for figuring this out and launching this in a very smart way. So yeah, that's it. That's it. It's just a big winner. They're a big winner this week.
It's a little crack cocaine going on right there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, let's get to our rants and raves quickly here, where Joe and I go off on a little bit of a rant or a little bit of a rave that makes us feel like, well, like we're Taylor Swift and launching a new album, or that we're her boyfriend and getting broken up with as she launches a new. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So, yeah. What do you got? What do you got?
Okay. So
tell me about this Hampton Jitney bus.
Here's my rave. Okay. So the backstory on this is that we go into see Tony DeSere and his repertoire of Billy Joel songs at with the Cleveland Orchestra at Blossom. Just outside of Cleveland. And it's a wonderful day. And it's all Billy Joel songs set to orchestra music, and it's fantastic. And they do melodies. And you know how much I love Billy Joel, probably my number one performer of all time, number one musician. I grew up on Billy Joel, and Tony put together all the music for it and did a great job. And he told a story when he was getting started that the Hampton Jitney Bus Company came to him and said, would you write a song? And what they did, and this is a pure content marketing thing, they said, hey, instead of us just doing ads to get, basically, if you don't know what Hampton Jitney Bus does, is they take people to and from downtown or the New York area downtown to the Hamptons. It's like a 3-hour bus trip.
Yep.
And they've been around for over 50 years, a long time. But instead of just doing an ad on the radio, they said, we're going to block out a 2-minute time period. And they asked Tony DeSere to write the song.
Nice.
And they didn't say write it about the Hampton Jitney Bus. They said all you got to do is mention it once, say a couple words, but we want you to write a beautiful song that gets people thinking about going to the Hamptons. And he did that. He wrote a 2-minute song that's actually quite beautiful. Brilliant. And they took out the space. This is pure, content marketing, buying the space, but putting a song. So people, for the most part, didn't even know that they were listening to an ad. They were listening to the Jitney Bus song. And so I just thought that was I hadn't heard about that example before. And I thought that was really good. I'll put the link in the show notes. The link that I'll put in the show notes is Tony explaining the story about how he got approached to do the song and why it happened and how it happened and all that stuff. And then he plays the song.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. I mean, that's Michelin Guide in 2025.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same thing. And I love the fact that, you need to mention Hampton Jitney Bus, but you know what? We don't want the song to be about us.
Exactly. I mean, just make a reference. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And do you have a rave or
it's commentary more than anything else?
Okay.
It's basically, there's a Wall Street Journal article which is the headline in the Wall Street Journal article is AI is coming for the consultants. Inside McKinsey, this is existential. The article basically opens up and talks about how companies pay dearly for McKinsey's human expertise, and for nearly a century, they have had good reason. The elite firms, consultants have basically, it's a love letter to McKinsey in the opening lead here of the article. And basically, the article goes on to talk about how McKinsey is facing this existential moment with the development of AI and how consulting firms like McKinsey are really struggling with this because they're laying off people and they have to adopt to a world where clients may expect prices to be cheaper because AI is delivering the solution instead of people and blah, 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 blah. What annoyed me most was about this article is that to me, it's one of the things that annoys me the most about the big agency world and the world of media, full stop, in New York, which is this article should be labeled native advertising. And it annoys me that it's not, because this is the McKinsey publishing and PR and comms engine just humming along to get this article placed in the Wall Street Journal, because it's ostensibly McKinsey saying, through their pain, through their struggle, their tough struggle through the development of this new disruptive technology called artificial intelligence, how they'll prevail. They'll prevail with their people. They'll prevail with their successful model. They'll do all of these. It's so virtual signaling, and it's just OMG. And I just want to ask the Wall Street Journal the question, which is, can I have one of these, please? Can I have one of these articles, please? Because this topic, the subject matter of the actual article itself, may or may not be accurate, right? I mean, basically, it's saying, the backbone, the sort of through line is nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen with consulting and with the way that consultants are engaged, and whether consumers are going to ultimately want cheaper prices, or whether they'll pay more because they'll have AI baked into the process, or whether it'll be done with less people or more people, or nobody knows. That's sort of the through line through the whole thing. But McKinsey's preparing either way. It's this wonderful sort of piece about how everybody at McKinsey is aware of the existential threat that, and please trust us with your big project because we get it. We understand. And it's just like, I'd like one of my own, please. Thank you very much. And, and it's just annoying that the Wall Street Journal continues to call this kind of stuff like journalism when it's just clearly a native advertising piece for McKinsey. And so,
well, I know
I'm a little cynical about it.
I'll be able to sleep better at night knowing that McKinsey's got our back.
Yeah, the McKinsey's they're going to muscle through this. They're going to be able to get through this just fine. There's all sorts of quotes from McKinsey in there, and it's like, it's presented like, ooh, we did a big investigative deep dive into what McKinsey's going on at McKinsey. And it's not. It's just basically they were invited in. I'm sure it was like, we have this existential story to tell you. It's going to be great for your readers, and it's going to be awesome. And the reporter went, okay, I'll do that. Anyway.
The poor reporter.
Yeah, I don't know. If you can tell, the article really annoyed me because the way that's getting covered, by the way, it's getting covered as, ooh, the consulting firms really need to be on their game about this. And I was like, yes, of course we do. Consulting firms have always had to be on their games. Agencies have always had to be on their games. The internet disrupted things. Social media disrupted things. Mobile computing disrupted things. AI is disrupting things. It's disrupting the way people live their lives, run their businesses, et cetera, et cetera. We're no different. This is no different than any of those other big moments in history. And by the way, we're all dealing with it. It's not just the big, the big McKinseys, and I, play my little violins on the deck chairs, for McKinsey. So anyway, I get a little jaded when it comes to that kind of stuff because they get all the attention, and the boutiques, the smaller agencies, the smaller folks who really are getting disrupted in a big way from this don't get the same kind of story opportunities.
I think you're going to see more of this. First of all, there's less backlash, as we've been covering on the show, for this kind of thing. You don't have as much of the visual material around it that says that it is advertising. Like you said, this is native advertising. I think the second thing, maybe even more critical, you have less people in the newsroom to catch these things.
That's right.
That's it. You have some of it's just going through some computer programs.
Yep.
And coming out and saying, okay, let's run it. And by the way, and I think the Wall Street Journal does a pretty darn good job for the most part.
Yeah, across all of them, the Wall Street Journal does.
Washington Post, they all do a really good job. But are they as critical as they used to be? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, that's and for every reason that we just talked about with McKinsey. I mean, Wall Street Journal is going through the same thing that McKinsey is going through. They're going through the same thing all of us are going through. And, you know, I just don't, anyway, I keep continue to rant, but that's what I got for you.
I think that Marketing Frodo would have stopped it from publishing. I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure Frodo
you
would have
shall
said,
not
no.
pass.
You shall not pass. All right. Good show. What do you got?
I'm traveling. I'm traveling for the remainder of the week. I'm off to do a workshop in Boston, of all places. And then I'll be back for the weekend. And then I'll be spending the next week, other than, you know, doing the show with you, of course, getting ready for CEX, because that's in 2 weeks. Right. It's like crazy time.
That's right. And that's what I'm working on right now. I'm looking at all the presentations, not your presentation.
That's coming soon, I promise.
Presentation. I'm so excited about the show. I finished my keynote yesterday. I'm really excited about that, seeing all our friends. Again, if you're a creator, content marketer in the Cleveland area, come join us August 24th to 26th, CEX events. We would love to see you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be so much fun catching up in person. Yeah. So there you go.
So much fun. So much fun. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we will see you again next week with a regular show. And until we see you again next week, just remember, everybody, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing. Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.